You're about to watch a Trains Newswire video. If you enjoy what you see, consider looking at some of our other full-length videos. Chicago, America's Railroad Capital, 20th Century Limited, and a new collection of top-quality documentaries from producer Rich Luckin. All of these and more are available on our website, kalmbachhobbystore.com.
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, Trains Nation. Today is Friday, May 19th, 2017. We're glad you could join us for another episode of Trains Newswire Roundup. I'm Steve Sweeney.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jim Wren, and I have been out in the field with Norfolk and Western 611 and also the Ringling train. Got some reports about both of those coming up in a special issue called Big Steam is Back.
Yes.
Obviously about 611 and other big locomotives that are out there. And got 10 pages coming up about the Ringling train in the August issue, hot off the press.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get back to that in a minute, but a couple of hot items. We have news this week from CSX Transportation that 2 more hump yards are closing. One is confirmed, one is not quite confirmed. Selkirk up by Albany, New York is the unconfirmed one, but we have good sources close to the railroad who say that it will be closing down. The hump will be closing down. And also this morning we have information that Cumberland, Maryland's hump is closing down very soon.
That's interesting. I was just in Cumberland last week as well to check on the C&O 1309 restoration, and there were cars in it at that time.
Yeah.
So
well, there won't be soon.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Big change.
Big deal.
Real quick.
And we've got a story from Bill Stevens, actually several stories from Bill Stevens up in New England on this. And he was listening in on some investors' calls where Frank Lenegro, one of the top executives at CSX, said that they were kind of surprised. Hunter Harrison came in and said, "You don't need these humps anymore. You can do flat switching." And Lenegro apparently said, "I guess we don't." They're moving trains a lot faster. They've dropped it down. Their velocity has dropped to like 50% or something like that, and they're moving trains faster. They're making them longer, and apparently they're not affecting their customer service at all, which is
That's a good thing.
That's a pretty good
I
thing.
was just trying to think. They had closed Tilford Yard in Atlanta before.
Yes.
And Waycross and Hamlet.
No. Waycross
Waycross is still open?
Waycross is still open.
Hamlet's closed.
I believe so.
Okay.
And then it'll be Selkirk and Cumberland, and I think one other in Ohio.
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati's still open, and Waycross, and then a handful of others.
Wow.
The whole story's on Newswire.
Wow, go check it out.
Yeah, be able to see it. Well, the other big news is, first there were no charges, then there were charges, and now Amtrak engineer Brandon Bastian has surrendered to Philadelphia police as of Thursday on charges that he recklessly or negligently was involved in killing 8 people, 8 of his passengers back in 2015. So we'll be covering that court case as it goes through the legal system in Pennsylvania. And we're also going to be covering the trial that's coming up of Tom Harding from the former Montreal Main Atlantic Railway up in Quebec. Of course, he was the engineer that left train idling but had brakes on it. A little bit of question what exactly happened there when the train rolled down and destroyed Lake Meganic, Quebec.
Wow.
It's going to be a thick and heavy fall for crime reporting and railroading. I didn't ever expect to go back to crime reporting once I left the newspaper, but here we are. But well, Jim, so tell us a little bit about your trip down back in the
Caught a 611 excursion, Lynchburg to Petersburg. They've got a couple more, the final ones for this year, out of Roanoke, Memorial Day weekend. Still time to get down there and either ride or see the 611. Like I said, dropped in on the 1309 project in Cumberland. They're working on it again. You've got some coverage in Newswire about that this week. Go check that out. And then, of course, the circus train, we caught it in Shenandoah Valley. And it was quite an interesting chase. It's a huge, long train. And they had a tough time getting out of Roanoke because of locomotive problems, and it took them pretty much all day to get across the Shenandoah Valley, where they should have been much further north. And it was pretty tough, but it was good to see it one last time. And of course, that's what we kept telling ourselves.
Beautiful.
Got to go see it this last time.
Yeah. So lots of pages in the magazine. Look for the August issue coming out late June.
Yeah, right around July the 1st.
Right on July the 1st.
Yep.
Well, that sounds good. That's pretty cool. Interesting other things. I don't know if you got to see these while you're out and about or while you're working on feature kits this week. We got 2 West Coast stories on boards. One is on skateboards, one is on surfboards. Did you see either of these?
I caught a glimpse. I think one of them was on the cable cars in San Francisco.
Yeah. So there's an engineer and inventor and kind of a trolley enthusiast in Lisbon, Portugal, who decided he could not skateboard on those cobblestone streets, if only there were a way to go on the trolley tracks. So he modified a skateboard that could go down trolley tracks, follow gravity, right in with the cup-shaped rails that were there. And then he said, well, why not take it to San Francisco, where there's lots of hills and trolley tracks. There's a full story on Newswire and a link to a video. We are not promoting illegal behavior activity, but there's a link if you want to see what they're doing. It's really weird. You'd never find me doing it because they're going like 30 or 40 miles an hour
And the
downhill.
cable cars in San Francisco are steep. I mean, you've
you're
seen
like,
them.
yeah.
I mean, the angles are crazy.
Yeah, they are
Unless they have
crazy.
cables to drag them up these hills.
Yeah, that's right. You know, motor would never be able to do it. The adhesion would never work.
work.
And then in Los Angeles, just a little bit to the south, a few hours south, Metrolink has decided they're going to add surfboards on some trains.
Really? So you can like put it on the roof and carry it to the beach?
Well, it's not like Beach Boys put it on the roof, but they've got like a rack on the side,
On the
and
side.
it has to be wrapped and it has to be packaged
cool.
a certain way. And so now you can, the person was an 11-year-old boy at the time who lived in Riverside, California, where our David Lassen's been for a while. And, he said, I want to take my surfboard to the beach on a train. And it finally came to pass recently. So
Only in California.
only in California and only on Newswire. You're not going to see that
true.
in any other rail media outlet, but you will on trains because it's kind of cool.
Go check it out.
Absolutely. So, Jim, we got a busy week on Newswire. We got a busy week in the office. I think it's time to get back and get working.
It is. You guys take care. Have a good weekend.
See ya. Please excuse this interruption to your programming.
Well, back on Mars.